like that.
Yeah, indeed. Hashtag PL fans is where you can find Leroy Rosenior. Leroy, what are you seeing from that Liverpool front three at the moment? Selfish, is that the right way or the wrong way?
Yeah, look, selfish is good in strikers, but there's a limit. You know, Mike, I like to see selfish strikers. I like to see strikers who want to score goals. But Eddie's right about the team, you know, and there's a fine balance. And at the moment, they've just overreached themselves in terms of the balance. But I've got some question for you guys. This one's from Taku. He says, do you think Klopp may need to change his front three and have an out-and-out number 9 in the next evolution of the Liverpool team? What do you think?
Well, I think that's it's going to happen, of course, at some point. All the three strikers, Leroy, are very similar age. So there's not going to be a time where you're going to get rid of all three and bring. You're going to have to phase it. And I just think that if you played with an out-and-out attacker, an out-and-out number 9, it'd almost be a clustered mess in this team at the moment. One thing you could do is, of course, bring one of the other two, Salah or Sadio Mane, into the centre and play a Jota or bring a wide man in.
Which he's done that with Jota a couple of times, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I just think that dynamic of a centre-forward, of Firmino, just dropping in, leaving that space for the out-to-win runs. Now, if they're going to continue playing like this at the moment, then you might have to change the way you're playing. But if they're going to start expanding, playing wide like they normally do, the Salahs and the Manes of this world, and actually make out-to-win runs, then I think you can continue. But they're going to have to reevaluate their starting positions, because at the moment, I think it's just a cluttered mess in the centre there.
Got a question for you, Eddie, from Francis. He says, what do you do when a player isn't in form like the Liverpool forwards? Do you keep them in or keep them on the sidelines?
I think those three players that we've been discussing, they've had a magical mix the last few seasons. It's been unbelievable to see them play together and evolve to the front three that they are. I would be leaving them in, and I will trust that they're going to hit form again.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. OK, make sure you keep getting your questions into me on hashtag PL fans. And as I said, I'll get them into Eddie, Michael and Andy.
Great stuff, Leroy. Thank you very much. Right, let's move on to the United perspective, because certainly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Eddie, he got a lot right, didn't he, at the weekend?
Yeah, I thought they did a lot right. From a defensive perspective, I thought they would be really, really pleased with their work. And I think they're becoming, slowly but surely, a lot more solid as a defensive unit. They obviously look to play this game, I think, on the counter-attack. I think we've got a couple of clips to show them counter-attacking really well here. Like this, yeah. That's typical United, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Ollie's game plan was certainly to use the pace of Martial and Rashford. I think we've got quite a few clips of them trying to just break that offside trap. Again, we'll let this
it's
one
good play
go
there.
But yeah,
really good.
If I just take it back here, because I think what I want to bring up is the options here for Marcus Rashford. You can see his arm just about to go up to say where he wants it. Now, what he's got a couple of issues. He's got Robertson here, and he's obviously got, is it Henderson or Henderson there. So he can see one. He knows the others in behind him. And what he's thinking is, he could, in many ways, just drop back here and think, right, I'll make the ball easy and I'll give myself more space. He could also make this run, but then he kills any chance of scoring. And he wants to stay onside. This is the problem, is the offside. Now, if he just runs straight, he's offside. Or he has to slow his run down to such that these players get back and get him. So what I'm thinking is he needs to almost alter from here. He needs to be making a run whereby he's actually angling in it more that way.
Right.
So he can keep the revs up, he can keep his speed.
And he still nullifies Henderson.
Exactly. Yeah. He then nullifies this guy because he's running away from him and he's got the momentum then. But then with Henderson, he stays on the blind side of him, but he actually stays onside as well. And he's keeping those revs up. So once the ball left Martial's foot, or I think Martial's foot, he's got all the momentum and he's staying onside. As it is, he just runs straight. And I think see him stop there. He's running and he sort of slows down and it takes all his momentum and Robertson gets back in. So I think an arced run, and I've seen him do it before, and that's why I think Rashford is better off the left or better wide than playing straight down the middle. Yeah. Again, there you see Pogba doing exactly the same thing, just the timing of the run, but you can see what Manchester United are trying to do, and this is a great clip for me because I think here Rashford's killing his space. I think he's got to almost take his man away and do that same run that I just showed you, where he's actually running across the face of
people.
players, or maybe not that far out, but maybe across like that.
That one.
Staying onside. Alternatively, he could do what he's doing and just make a run over here, or he can make a run over here and take his defender in, because he knows he's got his mate that's going to fill that gap.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that that's the area that they're trying to exploit.
Yeah.
But I think Rashford, he's doing none of the other here. He's going too early into this space, so he's making his run quite wide. He's offside, so he either stays deeper and makes the run in, or he clears the space, comes short for his strike partner, Martial. As it is, as I say, he's almost running into an area where the lads get a chance, the back four of Liverpool get a chance to get back at him, because he's not got that momentum and he's not staying onside.
I'll just pause it there, Eddie. Can United, one of the things I've heard over the last few days a lot, there's been various opinion, ex-players like ourselves and ex-managers, can they counter-attack their way to a Premier League title? Can they only operate this way against the best teams and hope to win the league?
Well, I think they can do, but I don't think it's in their makeup to do it. I think they'll do this against Liverpool. They'll do this against Manchester City. I can't think of many others that they would play this way, this deep. I think they would be a lot more front foot against most other teams. Counter-attack will always be part of their game against anybody.
Yes.
But I don't think they'll necessarily sit this deep against other teams. And that was a really good example. So a couple of really good early passes. They obviously had a game plan to get in behind Liverpool's back line. And they were really close.
Close
they
to doing
just
it.
didn't nail it.
Yeah, they were really close. A couple of times they got given offside and they were very close. That last one, when you slow it down, it was actually just onside, as it was. Alisson came out. But you could tell their game plan. It didn't take a genius to know what the game plan was going to be before the game, and they certainly carried it out and just questioned the quality of the pass all the time in an angle of the runs. Stopped them from getting in.
Tons of United fans around the world will have been talking about the two very, very good situations they had. How did you guys read those on the day? Did you think they were both outstanding chances?
Well, let's just run them at a slow pace to start with. I mean,
this is the Bruno Fernandes chance.
This is Fernandes, and let's just stop it there. Here's Fernandes just arriving into the edge of the box. Now, normally what you would see is Cavani making this run, doesn't it? He loves that run, absolutely loves it. As it is, he sees Fabinho at that near post, so he decides to go to the back post, which leaves Fernandes just to loiter out here. And if we just roll it on slowly, you see he comes onto the ball, but just watch the checked run. He's almost got to he's slowing himself down now, and I just think that is the key moment in this. And the reason I say that, I'll just pause it. Well, in fact, let's see the save. The reason I say that is because when you're a centre forward and you're running onto a ball, as soon as you let a ball come across you like this, it kills your power. You can't. The only way to power is to plant and strike. So you've got to pivot with your hips. Now, if you're waiting for it to come across, you've got no pivot. You've got no, and you're just almost
guiding it.
You're guiding. You can't get any power. A lot of people will think that's a great chance, and I've watched this chance and the chance that we're going to look at Pogba in a moment, and I actually think I'd probably score more goals with the Pogba chance than that one. I don't know, and we'll watch it again. I don't know what else he can do. Maybe he can sweep it with his left foot. If he sweeps it with his left foot here, he gets more power. We'll just slow it down a little bit. But see, he's almost had to stop himself. And the only area I think he can go is probably high and near post here. I still think Alisson will probably save it. But I just don't know what he can do. It looks a good chance because it's only 7 yards out. But I don't know. I mean, you're an attacking midfielder, Andy. What do you think of that?
I personally think with that one, I'll just pause that on that Fernandes one. In fact, Eddie, I just want to go back to that one. We'll just go back to that one to start with and get your thoughts on that. But I think, Michael, he could have done more with that. My feeling was that I thought Bruno Fernandes could have hit this harder, made better contact, Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say, I like Luke Shaw's part. That's probably one of the only times he got forward in the game, but he showed his quality. I thought he had a great game. For me, this is just me. I wasn't a goal scorer of any note. Okay, I was a defender. I would have felt more comfortable with that chance than the Pogba one.
But what would you have done?
I'd have tried to get height in it. Well, being honest, I'd have just tried to get contact on it. That's how bad a finisher I was. But if I was good enough, I'd have tried to just get some height on it.
I just want to take that back. Just not to look at the chance, but just to look at the end game, where the players were. Because here, In fact, let's take it back a little bit more. You've got I think there's another Liverpool.
They've all gone under the bar, Michael. The defenders,
exactly.
they've all run under the goalie.
When you're about to hit it here, you're seeing players on this side of the goal. You're seeing Henderson and Robertson. And then you've got a goalkeeper here. It's almost like a wall of players. And as he's about to hit it, I mean, I think this top corner is the only area he can probably go. Probably. But I must admit, and I'm as critical as they come when it comes to finishing and what players could do, I don't think it's as good a chance as people actually think it is.
You can actually see him, Michael, there. He's kind of opened his foot up where he's looking to go to Alisson's left, which he actually does, but not left enough. Look, we'll leave that chance there. What about the Pogba one, Eddie? How good a chance was this?
Yeah, I mean, it is a great chance. I think his first touch is really good. He's gone for power. And I think with the covering defender, which I think is Fabinho, with the covering defender, I think he can't. I think it might be easier to see from this end. It's very difficult now to go across goal because of that trailing leg coming across.
Take that back.
I think in an ideal world, he'd probably look to miss-hit it and actually find that far corner.
Right.
But he hits it really well. But I've got to credit the goalkeeper because he stands up. He makes his barrier really big. He doesn't predict or try and anticipate where the ball's going to go. And although it looks a comfortable save, it's a top save from a top goalkeeper.
What did you think, Mo, with that one?
Again, I don't think it was a glaring miss. I think that the problem is when you get there, when the ball's bouncing, you get so excited about pace because it's such an easy ball to hit well. I don't think he can pull it across because I think Fabinho's actually there. Again, if we just go back on it a little bit, you can do that, Andy.
Yeah, let me take that back, yeah.
I think Fabinho probably blocks it here. So, yeah, just take it back a little bit more, around there. So I think if he starts trying to pull it into this far corner, again, I think Fabinho possibly might get the block on.
I agree.
I don't quite know what the alternative is. I don't think it's a placed effort. I don't think you can really side foot it into the near post. I think the goalkeeper, as Eddie says, people will think, oh, he's just hit it straight at him. That goalkeeper makes you as a centre forward think about it. I want a goalkeeper to come to me and do something. Make my mind up for me. Come and dive at my feet so I can go round you or dink it over you or go early or do something that I can actually find a way of scoring. He makes himself big. He stands tall. He doesn't move until you're about to hit. He makes you almost have to do something out the ordinary to score a goal.
The way I saw that, Ed, as a midfield player getting into that scenario, I'm thinking about make good contact with that strike. I think Pogba's right to let it settle. Just take it back. I think he does the right thing in just letting the ball settle. And once you're hitting it on the half volley, you're hoping to hit that sweet. You're hoping to really nail that. And like he ticks all the boxes there for me. I think if that's Michael, if that's Robbie Fowler, if that's a poacher, they might drag that shot a bit or even bobble that or scuff that shot a bit with respect, Michael, and you get yourself a goal.
Yeah, and I also think if the ball was on the floor, it gives you so many more options. When the ball's bouncing like that, it's just the temptation in the split second. Remember, this is split second stuff. The temptation is, well, I'm a guarantee to hit this well because the ball is perfectly just sitting up for you. When the ball's on the floor, now you've got options. Now you can't quite hit it as hard. You can't quite get the power on it as when the ball's off the floor. You've also got finishes then. How many times do you see someone finish actually punch it down when the ball's...
Mason Mount got one for Chelsea the other day.
But you're basically trying to contact the ball when the ball's in the air.
Yeah.
You've got, it's less difficult to do.
Yeah.
And when the ball's on the floor, you've got the slides. Either you can go high, you can do anything. And I think with it being a bouncing ball, that's almost made his mind up. Right, I've got to strike this and strike it well.
Yeah. Defensively, Eddie, we spoke just briefly before we come on air. You were impressed with United and the way that they set up. Was it a low block? Is it a medium block? We hear this terminology an awful lot nowadays. How did you assess their starting position, their back four?
Yeah, I'd say it was a low block in whatever you want to call it, but I think it was a quite a passive block in the first half and a little bit more aggressive in the second half. But I think individually, you'd say their back six, the back four and the two midfielders. I mean, this is a really good example. Luke Shaw's 1v1. He's getting great cover from Fred, and I thought the two centre midfielders put a real shift in. I thought they did great for the team from a defensive perspective to deal with Liverpool's threat. As much as you can criticise Liverpool's front three and highlight issues, they came up against a very good defensive unit in Manchester United, and they've really improved in that respect, I think.
That's a good point that you make about the work of McTominay and Fred. We know they're particularly good. When they are having to do that, as we just see Fred do there, he pinches the ball and he gets his team back on the front foot.
Andy, to be honest, I think they go really underrated. So see here, Wan-Bissaka's 1v1. Who's his support? In this position, you'd normally expect a wide play. Normally expect Pogba's playing in that position. Pogba maybe to be the one supporting inside the fullback. But it's McTominay, and I think that's why Ollie trusts those two players so much from a defensive perspective. Pogba's taken up a good position defensively, but it's the willingness and the unselfishness of the two centre midfielders to cover wide men, to cover fullbacks. Really, I think needs to be highlighted. I thought they did a great job.
Do you think it's far easier to play this way? I'm just looking at that clip there. We just pause it a second. I'm thinking for fullbacks, when you've got Wan-Bissaka and Shaw, predominantly they sit. We did a show the other day where it showed but there, wasn't it? Winning the ball high, and that's what I see as their evolution, as Eddie says. They've got the players, they've got unbelievable players, they've got pace, they've got guile, they've got great defenders, but I just think they need to be braver in certain situations as well and hunt in packs up at the top of the pitch and then attack.
Let's have a look at the top of the table, guys, at the moment and see who actually had the better of the weekend, really, after everything was done. There we go. We can just see it there. Or was it an outstanding weekend for Pep Guardiola, Eddie?
Well, I think Manchester United will be delighted with that.
Right.
To go to Anfield and get a point, I think they'll be absolutely delighted. Because not only does it get them an extra point, obviously it keeps Liverpool below them. So I think they'll be delighted, but Pep Guardiola will be ecstatic, I think, not just with the result and the weekend that they had, but just the way that they're moving and how their team's looking, how solid they are at the back, and now they're beginning to refine their goal-scoring form as well. And
Michael, we mustn't forget Brendan Rodgers is Leicester, because they could actually sit on top of the pile later on this evening. Are they very much in the mix for you?
You can't play virtually half the season and be 2 points off the top, maybe top of the league by tonight, and then say, we've made this mistake before. Halfway through the season with Leicester and say, they can't sustain it, and they went and won it, and they're a better team. Or you would say that they're, a less of a surprise, let's say, nowadays. But if you look at the top of the table,
how solid they are at the back, and now they're beginning to refine their goal-scoring form as well.
And Michael, we mustn't forget Brendan Rodgers is Leicester, because they could actually sit on top of the pile later on this evening. Are they very much in the mix for you?
You can't play virtually half the season and be 2 points off the top, maybe top of the league by tonight, and then say, we've made this mistake before. Halfway through the season with Leicester and say, they can't sustain it, and they went and won it, and they're a better team. Or you would say that they're, a less of a surprise, let's say, nowadays. But if you look at the top of the table and the managers, what's going to be their state of mind when they're going to bed after the weekend? Yes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer happy. Pep Guardiola delighted. Brendan Rodgers delighted. There's 4 points been dropped between two of the big teams. Tottenham delighted. They've won. So it's only really Jurgen Klopp that's got a few problems to solve out of the managers on there.
Yeah. #PL fans, of course, we want your input as well in this show. It's crucial that you get in.